Welcome back. Welcome back.
Yo, Denali, nice job snacking first. Welcome. All right. We're getting all connected. Everything looks functional. I think we're off to a good start this morning, chat. Things are rolling. Denali, how have you been, my friend? It's been a while since I've had a good morning stream. We haven't done game news in a couple of weeks. Just all sorts of stuff. This morning may be interrupted. I'm trying to figure it out. I may have a plumber calling me. Man, our front bathroom. Yeah, been a bit, dude. It's life stuff, man. I don't want to go into detail here, but I may have to end the stream if the plumber shows up. So that's just gonna be. It is what it is, you know. Anywho,
Welcome back.
dang, turn on my VPN. Oh no. Life do be like that sometimes. It's true. It's very true. But we got a good game news this morning. A lot of stuff to talk about. Should be cool. Should be cool. We missed a lot of stories over the last couple of weeks. I'd love to have covered them. A lot of good stuff, a lot of things I have thoughts on, but it doesn't matter. The news cycle takes no prisoners, you know? It just chews everything up and spits it out and moves on. Alright, I'm assuming everything is live. Everything looks like it's working. So let's hang out and just chatting for a moment while I get everything else set up. Good morning, everybody. Good to see you. Oh my gosh, my speaker was just jamming out. Interesting. Alright, we should be good now. Anyway, happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to the game news on Monday. We'll get into the stories in just a moment while I switch into game news mode. But good to see everybody. I appreciate you guys being here. I hope you've all been doing well and have a great week ahead. Let's jump into several things. We got Pokemon leaks to talk about, and then a few other things before that. And then I have some thoughts on the recent TwitchCon activities, and yeah, we'll talk about it all just coming up right now, actually. So let's jump into news cam and maybe cut the volume. It's about there. I don't know. This is too aggressive for news. Synthwave is my preferred news background music. Anyway, all right. Make sure my desktop is shared, and we should be. News mode is active. Yes. All right. Well, let's jump into our first topic. A lot of Xbox news lately, right? I haven't been able to cover all of it, mostly because I haven't been available or ready to cover it. But anyway, let's talk about this. Overall, the doom and gloom the last couple of weeks. We did get Xbox president confirms the Series X and S successors are in development, which we kind of knew. We knew AMD and Xbox had a partnership, and those things rarely fall through unless something drastic were to happen. But we do have confirmation. Xbox president has confirmed that their next-gen hardware is in development, which means Series X and S successors are on the way. Xbox has been going strong with its This Is an Xbox campaign, bringing its services to all possible platforms. They've already entered the handheld business successfully with the launch of the ROG Xbox Ally X, and are now looking to bring Xbox to cars with their new partnership with LG. With so many platforms being addressed by Xbox, many players were wondering whether their next mainline consoles are now getting any attention. Fortunately, the president has stated that development is already on, and they have reached the prototype and design stage of things. At reaching the prototype and design stage, I feel like they might be past that. That might be like this is what people think of. But if these are supposed to come out in 2027, I feel like they've got to be past some of this prototyping and designing stage. Just knowing how long it takes for like production to hit scale and all that. Anyway, during a new interview with Variety, Xbox president Sarah Bond was asked whether they are still going to make in-house consoles, to which she replied, confirming that the successors of the Series X and S are in development. Bond stated they're 100% looking at making things in the future. Their next-gen hardware is already in development, and the team has been looking at prototyping, designing. The president also spoke about AMD partnership around the next-gen consoles. Xbox president added that they saw a chance with the ROG Xbox Ally X to innovate in a new way and to bring gamers another choice, in addition to our next-gen hardware. Bond spoke about listening to what players and creators want, also building thing when there's a demand for innovation. Maybe things? I don't know. Bond concluded by talking about more innovation that is to come, including towards further optimizing the experience for handhelds, scaling out the compatibility program, bringing more benefits and improvements, and offering more features to people that give them more choices and more games. So, yeah. We kind of knew this, right? This isn't like a huge reveal, but given all the doom and gloom over the last few weeks, I think it's important to remember that Microsoft's already kind of promised us at least one more generation of hardware or talked about it. The odds they pull the plug now is very unlikely, but I mean, I guess anything's possible. It just depends, I guess, on the environment we find ourselves in, and cost and everything. I don't know. I think this next Xbox is going to be more PC-like than the current systems and any Xbox we've seen before. It's going to be an interesting time, though. It's going to be an interesting time. But I don't want to dwell too much on this. We got Pokemon news to talk about. But anyway, before we get there, we got to go next. VGC. Thanks to everyone who played. Banjo-Kazooie director confirms Rare exit after 36 years. So, confirming a VGC report from July. Malis? I don't know how to say the name. But he posted on X, today was my last day at Rare Limited. Thanks to everyone who played and enjoyed any of the games I helped create while I was there. Also, thanks to the people that worked on the games alongside me. It seemed fitting I should say farewell with one final rhyme. I think he has a rhyme. But it's kind of important to note that, like, he was behind Donkey Kong Country, Banjo-Kazooie, Grabbed by the Ghoulies, Viva Pinata. Basically, a driving force at Rare Limited for the last forever. If you've played these games, any games that he's been involved in, you definitely know. And it's just, it's cool to see, hey, maybe he's moving on to something else. Maybe he's just retiring from the games industry. I don't know. I haven't looked into it that much. But Rare is definitely not the company it used to be, and hasn't been for a long time. So I'm surprised he stuck it out this long. But hey, maybe he just kind of went, you know what, I am done. Right? I don't know. Things that Microsoft has been touched lately have just been kind of off-putting. I'll just put it that way. But very, very, odd situation. I hope the best, I hope he's either retired or on to like something he wants to work on. I hope the best for him. Very cool. Very influential figure in my childhood, so I thought I'd give a little nod there. Because I love Banjo and Donkey Kong Country games. Like, those are some of the best games of all time. Anyway, let's move on. Also from VGC, Dissidia Duelum Final Fantasy is a mobile 3v3 battle game which brings Final Fantasy characters into modern Tokyo. So if you guys have ever heard of Dissidia Final Fantasy, it was kind of Square's take on a fighting game with Final Fantasy characters. And it was on PSP. The first two. And then I think it got a console release that was on PS4. It was free to play or free to start. I don't really know. I didn't dive into it too deeply. I remember downloading it, and I don't think I even launched it one time on PS4. What's up, Brent? Welcome to the stream. But yeah, it's just kind of wild to think that here we are. Now we're doing a mobile game. So yeah, they've confirmed a few characters. Warrior of Light from Final Fantasy, Kane Highwind from Final Fantasy IV, Bladison from Final Fantasy V, Terra from Final Fantasy VI, Cloud from 7, Renoa from 8, Zidane from 9, Lightning from 13, Gaia from 14, and Prompto from 15. It's kind of cool. You know, I don't know. I might check it out. Closed beta is coming up. But 3v3 battle game makes me think Auto Battler. It's the designs that are kind of tripping me up, though. They look so casual. It's like they just wanted to draw Final Fantasy characters without the fantasy part. They just wanted to have them be fashionable teenagers or adults. I don't know. I don't know how old half of these characters are, but yeah. Just final. They just did the final. Just final. They dropped the fantasy. Just final outfits. Zidane's kind of tripping me up because he's just wearing like a vest and a t-shirt. He looks like a roadie for like a rock band. That's what's tripping me up. It may be hard to see on stream. Let's see. I can just do a new tab and then go over to it. Yeah, okay. Maybe not. Okay, there. It's cool, all right? Just seeing all these characters look a little different, but then you've got just like Cloud looks like Cloud from the neck up, and then everyone else just looks kind of off to me. Lightning, I guess, kind of looks like Lightning. It's just weird. I don't know what they're gonna do. This is gonna be a weird game. Dissidia had a cool premise on PSP, but I don't think they've been able to capture like the feel since then, and who knows what this game will be. I don't know. I hope it's cool. I might check it out. All right, let's move on. You know, the story everyone wanted to see, a live service Halo game possibly in the works. Needless to say, when I read this, I was just like, ugh. It gets worse though. A live service Halo game may be in the works at Halo Studios, one reliable insider claims. If you know Xbox, you know Halo. As a beacon for the FPS genre, the sci-fi series has been going on since 2001's Combat Evolved. With the upcoming 25th anniversary coming up, with the upcoming 25th anniversary close, would have been I'm sorry for judging grammar, guys. I feel bad, but when I'm reading this out loud, it's like, does nobody else read what they write out loud and like proofread, or have somebody else read it and go, hey, does this make sense? Anyway, and the Halo World Championships next week, the hype for more Halo is huge. Halo Studios themselves confirmed we'll see something new. Something new revealed there, likely the Combat Evolved remake. However, according to a credible YouTuber, we may actually see another new project this time in the live service genre. Ugh. Then, in a video from Halo YouTuber Rebs Gaming, who previously leaked the Virtuos co-development for Halo CE, a new entry in the franchise will be revealed soon. The game, which will be live service, is expected to drop next year, meaning 2 Halo games could come out then. Rebs says their source told them it will be similar to Fortnite. Yuck! Though they don't know if it'll feature Battle Royale. No other information was provided, so take it with a grain of salt. Alright, so it's at this point, I got this far in the article, like this morning. I was working out, warming up at the gym, and reading this. And when I got to the point about it being similar to Fortnite, look, I had no problem with Fortnite by itself. Standalone product. It's a fun game, a lot of fun modes. They keep adding cool stuff. Skins are, you know, the skin economy is booming for Epic Games. I have, you know, there are concerns and issues with Fortnite as a battle royale, technical issues, monetization issues. There's lots of things, but I don't hate Fortnite. I play it a lot on stream. If I hated it, I wouldn't play it at all. My problem, and what makes me like shudder and like react so negatively to hearing this kind of stuff, is every company that keeps trying to make Fortnite, but with their own game, has not done so. And it has been tragic. Instead of focusing on the things that make like their own franchise, in this case Halo, very fun, and so much, like, there's so much about Halo that fans love and people love about it. Instead of leaning into those strengths, they're like, well, how can we be like Fortnite? That's why the monetization in Halo Infinite was dog water. because they wanted to make a Fortnite shop. They wanted to make this rotating, and it's like, you don't have that. You are Halo. You have armor and you have weapons, and that's not a rotating shop experience. That's armor and weapons. Like, all right. So anyway, I don't want to like ramble on too much about it, but my issue is I don't care if it's a live service game per se, if it's a fun multiplayer game. I mean, they could just make Team Deathmatch part of a live service, like make a free-to-play multiplayer with some maps and stuff. Make it cosmetics. Make Overwatch but Halo. Like, I don't know. But don't tell me it's trying to be like Fortnite, because all that tells me is you want to sell a bunch of cosmetics, and this game doesn't have that amount of depth to it to demand cosmetics like that. Fortnite works because Fortnite pulls in and does all this crossover stuff. People like that. That's what people are there for. They like playing Battle Royale. It's a solid game mode. People go to Halo and they just want to play Halo. They don't want to buy a helmet that looks kind of dumb and then they never see it because the game's first person anyway. Like, my gosh. We all know. So yeah, I don't know what we'll find out next week. When Halo Studios gives us a look at what's coming, but I'm getting disappointed by the second, I guess. I don't know. I'm trying not to be negative about it. I'm curious, cautiously excited, but I don't want Fortnite but Halo. Can we all agree on that? I want Halo to be Halo, but it doesn't need to be like anything else. And yes, Denali, you could just feed these articles into ChatGPT to make them written a little cleaner for more people to consume more clearly. Anyway, all right, let's move on. All right, I haven't covered this game at all, but it's kind of hard to ignore the impact. Arc Raiders had an open beta this weekend. It's an extraction shooter. And it just became Steam's most popular extraction shooter, and it's not even close. So this game sounds like it's single-handedly creating or carrying the extraction shooter genre that supposedly is the next big thing in gaming templates that every company wants to make. Arc Raiders players are enjoying the server slam test as we speak, pouring into the game to explore everything that it has to offer 2 weeks before it officially hits the market. It's the last opportunity to play the game for free before it launches on October 30th, and it has been met with a seriously positive reception. Seriously positive. The hype driving Arc Raiders has proven to be such a success that the game has almost hit a peak player count of 200,000 concurrent users on Steam alone. That's a phenomenal number that makes Arc Raiders the most popular extraction shooter on the platform. Okay, let's talk about extraction shooter. What does extraction shooter mean? Generally, what it's just me. I may be on it, I may be missing the mark here, but what I think about with an extraction shooter is PvPvE, if that makes sense. So there's a goal to accomplish for you and your team, and there's another team of players, but then there's also like an NPC or an objective to complete. Whereas in a traditional just competitive shooter, you're just fighting another team. This one has either like a third enemy or a third objective that you're trying to like take or recover or escort to a point. Some games like Overwatch has like some kind of extraction elements to it, but it's more of a hero shooter because everything is class based. I haven't played Arc Raiders to know, but yes, I think the extraction shooter is a team based game with objectives instead of just combat being like the primary focus. It's a core mechanic, but you got to do other stuff. That's my understanding. A little complicated, maybe a little wordy. That's my understanding. Let's see. Arc Raiders could become the top-rated extraction title. Arc Raiders has been pieced together by Embark Studios of the Finals fame. It's a third-person extraction shooter that throws players into a world devastated by a robot uprising of sorts, putting them into the shoes of scavengers desperately trying to make a buck and resolve quests while avoiding death in the field. There you go. The earliest beta tests of Arc Raiders were rampant successes, and Embark Studios rolled out a server slam test a server slam to test the game's infrastructure before launch, and the results have been dramatically positive. On Steam, the game hit an all-time peak of 189,668 users as the server slam unraveled, effortlessly topping every other extraction shooter ever released on Steam. To put that into perspective, here are some top numbers. Arena Breakout Infinite, 66,000. The Cycle Frontier, 40,000. Gray Zone Warfare, 72,000. Dark and Darker, 57,000. Escape from Tarkov, 61,000. Escape from Tarkov, arguably the most popular extraction shooter in the world, is set to be released on Steam on November 15th, so it'll be interesting to see if it can top Arc Raiders. We know that more than 500,000 people have Escape from Tarkov on their wishlist, but that only puts the game in 67th place on Steam's wishlist activity tracker. Arc Raiders is in 4th place. Good lord. So, interesting to see. I'd like to see more on this. I've seen a lot of people on Rumble talk about this game. A lot of people on X talk about this game. It seems cool. I haven't watched a whole lot of gameplay directly, but I have watched people talk about it a little bit. So, I need to check it out myself. Also, Zeke, what's up, man? We'll talk about Pokemon soon. Very soon, shortly. I was trying to say soon and shortly at the same time for some reason. Anyway, let's move on. All right, if we wanted an update on Sony's lawsuit against Tencent for copying Horizon Zero Dawn, they filed an injunction to bar Tencent from using any resemblance to Horizon's Aloy. A new update on the lawsuit reveals Sony has filed a motion for preliminary injunction to stop Tencent from using Aloy's resemblance and other elements from the Horizon series. So yeah, I don't know what else to say there. A lot of legal speak is in here, but they want to push. They really want to push back against Tencent for blatantly copying very soonly, for copying their stuff with their own game, blatant knockoff. Interesting, nonetheless. But hey, I get Sony wanting to protect their IP, but can you really copyright redhead female protagonist? I don't know. Maybe. All right, let's move on. I didn't want to stay on this too long. I want to get to the Pokemon stuff. All right, sad news. Not bad news, but sad news. Former Dead or Alive and Ninja Gaiden director Tomonobu Itagaki has passed away. This was announced from Team Ninja on X. We're deeply saddened by the passing of Team Ninja's first leader, Tomonobu Itagaki. We will carry on the philosophy and creativity that Itagaki-san began and continue to create games many gamers will enjoy. Our deepest condolences for his loss from everyone at Team Ninja. And it's just really sad to think about. Dude had some major hits in the early 2000s with Dead or Alive and the reboot of Ninja Gaiden. Say what you will about the guy. He seemed like a cool dude. Made some games that, impacted how I think about games. Before Dark Souls, we had Ninja Gaiden as our impossible to beat game. So, very, very sad to see, I think we'll start, I don't want to sound like negative, but yes, we should expect to start seeing more news like this as we get older, because a lot of these guys who have been like on the ground floor of gaming, getting up there in age, but hey, if he has any family or anything, I hope, I pray for peace for them and hope everything's all well. This is awkward. I did not expect this to go this way, so I'm going to go on to the next topic now. All right, let's talk about Nintendo. Nintendo patent could suggest DS games could come to Switch. This is surprising, isn't it? Surprising. If a new Nintendo patent is true, we may be seeing DS games on the Nintendo Switch 2 soon. Released earlier this year, the Switch 2 has become one of Nintendo's best-selling consoles, with its catalog growing each month, with the latest being Pokemon Legends ZA. There's a lot to enjoy. For those who pine for the past, the Nintendo Switch Online brings a treasure trove of classic titles from the Game Boy and N64. Even with the most recent edition, Virtual Boy, being outside the box, it seems it may get ever crazier and cooler thanks to a newly discovered patent. DS coming to NSO confirmed, patent discovery of a lifetime. Breaking news, the following patent shows Nintendo will manage the dual screen situation on Switch 2. You'll have 3 options. Interesting. How is this gonna work? This is from Mike Odyssey. I'm curious now because I have not seen this, and I did not know this was gonna link to a post. Let's just go to the post on X. Maybe not. All right, hang on. It's like I clicked this to open it, and it did not open. There we go. Okay, here we are. All right. You'll have 3 options: dual screen, parent screen, child screen, single screen mode, picture in picture, switch mode, switch between screens. All right, let's look at the patent itself. Interesting. Okay, so I'm not sure. I guess you'll just have a key to switch between top and bottom screens to interact. Interesting. I almost would rather the picture-in-picture mode, where I'd rather it side by side, to be honest. What is this? Second image. I don't know. This doesn't make sense. This doesn't explain all of the modes. Lost an OG in the base world this weekend too. Ah, rip. Who was it, Base Guru? Let me know in chat. Like, I'm looking through this and I just don't see. All right, first image. Single screen mode. Okay. Third image, first image, second image. So that's saying it's a composite of the top screen and the bottom screen. And then this would be second image, map image, second image, cursor. Okay, I guess. I guess what I'm wondering is if this is the case and we're getting DS games at some point. That's this, man. If we're getting DS games at some point, you know, are they going to work on TV? How does the touchscreen work? What games are going to be available? Like, I don't know. I don't know about this. I want it to be real. A lot of DS games would be great. I'd love to see the entire catalog of pre-Switch Pokemon games be available on the Switch at some point. But that's not likely. That's very unlikely. Anthony Jackson? No way, dude. All right, I did not see that anywhere, and like I get music news a lot of times because of all the crossover from you and some other friends that send me music news and memes and bass things. So that's wild. I hadn't seen that. Okay, let's move on. I want DS games on the Switch. I'm just gonna say that I want DS games on the Switch. I just don't know how that's going to work. Things contributed to creating the 5 and 6 string bass. Dude, that's awesome. Imagine that's your legacy. All right, let's move on. Because let's talk about Pokemon Legends ZA and then get into some of the leaks. UK charts. This is from Nintendo Life. Pokemon Legends ZA sales almost 50-50 across Switch and Switch 2. Launch sales 40% lower than Arceus. That's wild to think about. Latest UK charts data is in is that, as expected, Pokemon Legends ZA is comfortably taking the top spot this week following its release on October. Box sales were almost equal for the first week, with the Switch 2 edition bagging 51% of the split and the OG Switch version 49%. According to the game business's Chris Dring, overall box sales are also 40% lower than that of Pokemon Legends Arceus. Interesting time, but it goes without saying we can't get a complete picture without digital sales data, which Nintendo sadly doesn't provide. It's likely that ZA has enjoyed far greater sales on the Switch eShop than Arceus, and this may also skew the overall platform split, something to keep in mind. Let's see. Yeah, they talk about sales charts. I don't know, I thought it was interesting that the split is so close. 50-50. Now, I may post a video on this, but if you take... Alright, if you picked up your Switch 2 version of ZA, you take that game card, the red Switch 2 game card, and pop it in an OG Switch, it just plays the Switch 1 version. Which is wild, and I hope that's the case for like even Metroid Prime 4 and other games that are launching kind of cross-gen, because that means you could go ahead and buy the Switch 2 edition if you plan on getting a Switch 2 ever, and then you don't have to worry about the DLC or the Switch 2 patch or whatever. You just go ahead and get it. I think that's kind of cool, but it also is going to be great for parents during the holidays, because if they accidentally buy like the Switch 2 version, it's okay. It'll work on the Switch 1. And then it's not as big a deal unless they are getting a Switch 2 for their kids. Anyway, I just thought that was neat. I might make a short on that because it's kind of dumb, but I didn't expect it to work. I was just curious the way the front of the box is worded. It says the game card includes the Switch game and Switch 2 edition upgrade pack. And so that's where I was like, oh, I want to see what happens. Anyway, but cool to see 50-50 split almost. Very interesting. All right, let's move on. I also wanted to take a look at Metacritic scores for ZA. So Metascore, generally favorable based on critic reviews, but generally unfavorable based on user ratings. Now, I do think the game might be getting a bit of a review bomb because people don't know what the game, like, Pokemon's getting a lot of negativity, and that's just people are right in being negative towards it, but I think a lot of people are like blowing it out of proportion. I think you have some bigger creators like beat 'em ups that want to point out the windows looking flat and make a big deal about, oh, the graphics suck because the windows look flat. And he's not wrong in saying like, hey, the graphics do look a little lazier, but I'm not looking at the windows for 90% of the game or even 99% of the game. I'm focusing on literally anything else. I'm focusing on the Pokemon, I'm battling, I'm doing an objective. I'm not looking at the windows on the buildings. So there's stuff like that I think skews people's perspective. Zach, what's up, dude? Good to see you. It's just weird to me, you know? So I think some of this is review bomb. Also, anybody that's a big fan of Pal World or Pocket Pair or is mad at Nintendo for their lawsuit, I think they're also going to review this game negatively. So I don't know that the user score here actually counts. What's this obsession with Windows? They all work for Microsoft. Larry wanted to chime in. I bought the game and I'm bored with the game. It's way too much talking and less gameplay. Don't care about the Windows at all. The tutorial is way too long. I started the game last night, and I agree. There's way too much hand-holding and dialogue at the front of the game. I want to spend more time battling and catching Pokemon than I do being told where to go and what to do every single second. Yeah, so I agree with that. I am enjoying it, but I haven't unlocked like the openness that like Arceus had, where I could just go to each section and do stuff as I pleased and pick up side quests here and there. So I don't know, Zach. I think I'm still technically in the tutorial because I just unlocked like side quests. So I don't know. It's way too handholdy in the first couple hours though. Far too handholdy for me. And okay, while we're here on this page, let's get a little distracted for a moment. While we're talking about Pokemon Legends ZA and people liking it or disliking it, my biggest complaint outside of the tutorial is some of the plot movement feels lazy. Like in the beginning, I don't know if it gets better. I don't know if things get explained as we play. But so far, I have no motivation for the main character, your character, being in Lumio City. I don't know why he's there. He's literally he just showed up. And then, like, the plot moves him into joining the team, and suddenly, like, the plot is like, hey, now you have to go do all these things. And it's like, okay, but why? What was I supposed to be doing? Like, why am I derailed from why I showed up to Lumio City to begin with? Or what was my purpose? And how is it, like, okay that we just completely are doing something else? You know? It's the only thing that I'm really struggling with. Some of the plot just moves forward because the plot demands it moves forward. You know? And so things are happening because things have to happen. And when you notice it, it's kind of hard to unnotice it. the story gets better, Zeke? Dude, I hope so. Because I really want to love this game. I'm liking the mechanics. I think the battles are very fun. But I think some of my plot issues are just they're too glaring so far. But yes. That's where I'm at. Okay, rant over. We need like a rant scene for me to just when I get a little too focused on something. All right, let's move on. All right, so let's continue talking about ZA. Former Nintendo employees claim Pokemon Legends ZA only needs to sell 200,000 units to break even. This comes from due to incredibly low budget. Former Nintendo American employees Kit and Krista discussed the recent Pokemon leak, which we'll bring up on their channel, and mentioned an interesting detail regarding Pokemon Legends ZA. Its budget is around 2 billion yen, $13 million. While these leak numbers may be outdated and should be taken with a grain of salt, they said they indicate that Pokemon Legends ZA would only need to sell around 200,000 units to become profitable, which is a remarkably low number. They criticized Nintendo for not injecting a bit more money into the series, as they were guaranteed cash cows, but still felt somewhat lackluster in terms of graphics, for example. In any case, it bears noting that the marketing budget, which is generally fairly large for Pokemon games, may be well over 13 million and not part of the estimates. All right, makes sense. You know, the game is also half mystery game. I'm down for that. My game theory is that I'm a billionaire with tons of free time. That's the only thing that makes sense, Zach. That's the official headcanon I'm going with for now. All right, I did open up a tab that I'm not sure what it is. All right, it's talking about, okay, let's jump there right at the end of us talking about leaks. But yes, if ZA only needs to sell 200,000 units to break even, then okay, that should have already happened like this weekend. That's all I'm saying. All right, let's jump to the leaks now. Leaks abound. All right, so if you don't like finding out things beforehand, I'm sorry, but we're talking about Pokemon Gen 10 and everything that's been discussed. Pokemon Gen 10 Wind and Waves story setting and new mechanics leak. It's claimed. This comes from Centro Leaks, who's a noted Pokemon leaker. I try to avoid their account closer to Pokemon games releasing, but man, we're probably getting a Gen 10 announcement in February for Pokemon Day. There's a major leak. I don't know all the details around it, but Wind and Waves, and the theme is Infinity for the new Pokemon game. Very interesting. If you guys don't want me to talk about leaks, let me know. But I feel like this is an important generation. Like, I kind of want to know more information up front, because Scarlet and Violet, I might have skipped if I had known more up front about it. Is that fair? The DLC was so much better than the main game, which we'll talk about. But yes, okay, so let's talk about this a little more in detail. Centro Leaks gives us several details for Pokemon Leak Online, including details about the Gen 10 title. First thing is the name, which will be Pokemon Wind and Pokemon Waves. The upcoming game's theme is Infinity and will be directed by Shigeru Omori, who is known for his work on games like Sun and Moon, Sword and Shield, and the latest Scarlet and Violet. Data mined information also states that the game's original setting is Indonesia and Southeast Asia, contrary to earlier information pointing to Greece. Coming to legendary Pokemon, machine translation states that there are two of them, Package Storm and Package Wave. That's probably like a literal translation. It rolls out of an old man with the power of the wind to properly guide humans and Pokemon. It lives on an island. It's a lot of plot things. I don't know if I want to go that far into leaks. Coming on to Pokemon Gen 10. This is stuff they're probably going to show in the reveal, by the way. So, you know, none of it's confirmed. This is just leaks. So I guess I should clarify that as well. None of this has been confirmed. This is just leaked info. Data mined info. So the game will feature a new battle mechanic called Tenko Waza, which can be translated as weather moves. Hopefully it's more like Z moves and not terrestrialization. The other system is the seed Pokemon system, where a baby Pokemon of the seed species can be found in resort areas. Seed Pokemon are the unevolved form of Pokemon that are rare in sight. It evolves when it travels to the island where the legendary Pokemon resides, and its evolutions are said to have infinite variations. Furthermore, it seems every Pokemon can be ridden or touched in the upcoming title. That's a weird detail. It gives us stuff on plot. I don't really want to cover plot. It says Wind and Waves could have an MMO lobby and players can explore underwater and procedurally generated islands. I don't know how I feel about this because we saw what Scarlet and Violet ran like. So does that mean... I don't know. I don't know what that means in terms of performance. So coming to the next bit, the upcoming title seems to start in a big tourist city rather than a small town. The adventure is set in a big resort hotel that apparently serves as a large MMO lobby where players can see and interact with other players and access quest boards. However, this detail is from early development, could have been scrapped by Game Freak by now. If they do, okay, so the barbecue quests, the BBQ quests in the DLC for Scarlet and Violet, I wish that system had been in the game from day one, before the DLC. When Scarlet and Violet launched, I wish there had been a quest system to earn, I don't care what, just, it would have been way better if it had been like little side quests to do, or any quests, honestly, because the only thing to do in Scarlet and Violet was the main story and battle NPCs. Obviously, you catch Pokemon, but it was very little reason to like go explore or take advantage of the big open area that they set up, because you were just going from town to town and occasionally looking for new Pokemon. If this has like quest boards and some kind of actual multiplayer function that isn't just 4 people that you're friends with on the map, like, come on. I hope this is the case and they focus more on like the service, the live service side of Pokemon and like the online component, making it much more, I don't know, useful, more fun to take advantage of, take part in. What's up, Supersonic? Good to see you this morning. They fixed the emptiness in Z8. They really did. So far, wandering around, the Lumiose feels very much more alive than any part of Scarlet and Violet. Okay, Wind and Waves features MMO raid battle, diving, new graphics engine, and more. The Gen 10 budget has leaked online. I don't really care about that, unless you guys do. I don't know. I'm going to move on. We have other leaked things to talk about, and I've got 15 minutes of stream left. All right, this was like the biggest thing that from the recent Pokemon leaks that bugged me like the most. Pokemon Legends 2 was originally going to be set in Johto. According to some leaked information on social media, Pokemon Legends ZA was originally planned to be set in the Johto region before the Pokemon Company decided on the Kalos region and Lumiose City for the upcoming title. Furthermore, the project that would become ZA was claimed to originally be split across 2 versions themed around Ho-Oh and Lugia respectively. Given that Pokemon Gold and Silver had their 25th anniversary in 24, the 2 beloved Pokemon games were originally planned to get the Legends treatment before plans changed. According to known Pokemon leaker Centro, ZA was initially drafted as Pokemon Legends Ho-Oh and Lugia, with 2 split versions based on Gold and Silver, similar to how Legends Arceus was set in Ancient Sinnoh, which is called the Hisui region at the time. Pokemon Legends Ho-Oh and Lugia would have sent players back in time to the Johto region's past. The premise would have covered how Pokemon trainers came into being, how Raikou, Entei, and Suicune would be reborn following the Brass Tower's fire that saw it reduced to rubble. It is currently unclear why the Pokemon Company chose to pivot away from Johto and towards Kalos for Pokemon Legends ZA. Needless to say, any leaked Pokemon information should be taken with a fine grain of salt. However, the leaks posted by Centro about Pokemon Legends Ho and Lugia were part of a greater flood of information that emerged on October 13th. I would love that. I would want to go back to Johto, and I would love to see like a Arceus style game take place in the past. Like, I don't mind that. Build me some lore for Pokemon's past. You know, I think that would have been cool. Sounds like Wind is Waves is the Pokemon game Game Freak wanted to make versus what Nintendo wanted. I hope so. I don't know. It's got to be better than Scarlet and Violet. It cannot launch in the state Scarlet and Violet did. And going off of what ZA has done visually, wow, why do they keep denying us Johto? I know they won't give us. They didn't give us the Let's Go remakes. They didn't give us anything for the anniversary. They just don't want us, Nero, to enjoy Johto ever again. Even if it was just 1 or 2 cities in like ancient Johto or past Johto. I don't know, man. I really wanted this. When I found this out, I was like, this would have been cool. Now, that doesn't mean the idea is gone forever. It just means Legends ZA had a shift in direction. And that's okay. You know, I feel like anybody that's a huge fan of X and Y maybe is getting some level of closure with ZA. But I'm really hoping they revisit this idea for another Legends game, and we get like the origin of Pokemon trainers. That'd be so cool. Because I mean, I don't know, the game sets like the OG Gold and Silver sets up some history that you never get to explore. So I think it'd be awesome. All right, let's move on. All right, in that big wave of leaks, we also learned Pokemon Scarlet Violet's DLC cost as much to make as Legends Arceus. Arceus. Why did I put a T on that? I don't know. New leaks have revealed that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet's cost went way over budget, matching the likes of Pokemon Legend Arceus' entire development. A massive number of leaks have surfaced online about the Pokemon franchise since yesterday, and this was from October 14th. So this is old news, but ties into the leaks anyway. Let's see. Massive number of leaks surfaced online about the Pokemon franchise since yesterday, revealing details about past, present, and future games. We have already been informed about the Gen 10 title, Wind and Wave, and a roadmap for future Pokemon games. I guess we should look at that. Now, new details about Scarlet and Violet's DLC has also surfaced online. And then we got another from Centro Leaks, who's just been covering this like crazy. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet DLC development ended up going way over budget, costing as much as the entire Legends Arceus development. Going forward, we'll keep the DLC at an appropriate scale, commensurate with the revenue, and focus on achieving low costs. Now, that kind of makes sense. Like, I feel like the game suffered. Well, okay, if you think about the negative response Scarlet and Violet got at launch, as well as it sold, all the things about the performance and glitches and everything else, for it to come like kind of full circle, they're like, hey, we're doing DLC, we can do bug fixes and new features that we originally wanted to put in, but we also have to have a really good narrative because a lot of people are complaining about the story. And so I feel like they achieved that goal, and maybe a little more, but like definitely if it costs as much as an entire game to make a DLC pack, I would say scope creep was probably a big thing, but they really had to rebound on the DLC because the base game just not as good as other entries. I liked Sword and Shield a lot better than Scarlet and Violet's base game. Like, I don't have a problem saying that. I enjoyed the world. I enjoyed exploring. I enjoyed, doing the gym battles. Like, everything about it just felt way more interesting than Scarlet and Violet. Now, the DLC, different story. DLC for Scarlet and Violet was way more interesting and much better story than the DLC for Sword and Shield. So if we're comparing it that way, yeah, that makes sense. You know, it's kind of wild to think about, but I think they were trying to rebound, and so they ended up putting a lot more money and time. Hey, thanks for sharing the live. I think everyone would like a game with only Mons new to everyone again. That would also be good. You can't handle the fact they aren't as cool as they used to be. That's also true. Being the number one entertainment franchise in the world, they got too comfortable with, and now they don't feel like they have to try. But then again, I really hope they wanted to put their best effort into this, and that's why this DLC ended up costing so much. But I thought it was interesting. Small bit of info. All right, I think we got a summary of all the leaks. Here we go. Pokemon games and DLC roadmap allegedly revealed in new data mine. And this was also from October 13th. So this is, again, old news last week. I didn't get to cover it. Massive Pokemon data leak has occurred, revealing details about past and upcoming games, including a roadmap for future titles and DLC. Pokemon Company is falling victim to a huge data mine, which recently provided a whole bunch of details on their Gen 10 title, Pokemon Wind and Waves. Now, new information about other Pokemon games has surfaced online, including details on Generation 11, Legends 3, a remake, and more titles. Apologies for having to stop so much. Anyway, Pokopia will receive a DLC, and Pokemon Champions was originally scheduled for a 2025 release. Let's see. Okay, hold up. So, Wind and Wave set to release in 2026, with a DLC arriving in 27. Pokemon Legends 3, which is called Galar, is releasing in 2027 or beyond. Pokemon Multi-Region remake is in the works, which is planned for 2028 or beyond. Moreover, Pokopia will receive a DLC, and Pokemon Champions were originally scheduled for 2025 release. Okay, interesting. Interesting. So Gen 11 release window, multi-region remake, and Legends 3 Galar details surface. I mean, lastly, Pokemon Legends Arceus. What? No, Pokemon Legends 3, set in Galar 1,000 years in the past, where players must create the first Gigamax Pokeball. The upcoming game is inspired by Xenoblade Chronicles X. Interesting. Pokemon Gen 11 seemingly set a 2030 release window. Game Freak's reportedly developing a multi-region Pokemon remake that lets players walk from Sinnoh to Hoenn and includes Kitokami. It is called Project Seed internally and is a prototyping project for the next generation of online game playable by multiple people, set in a region that connects Hoenn and Sinnoh. Interesting. I would be down with that. Also, this promise here, I would love to go explore more of Galar, and just that whole region was fun. Full Pokemon Legends ZA Pokedex, including Shinies and Megas, has been leaked online. Yeah, this was like right before ZA launched last week, so interesting. If this multi-region remake is real, that's going to be huge, and probably a monthly subscription, knowing Pokemon Company. But interesting nonetheless. I want to know more about Legends Arceus 3. Well, Legends 3. They say Legends Arceus here. I think it was a typo. But, yeah. Cool. And Gen 11, I don't know. I don't really care about, because we don't even have Gen 10 right now. I'm curious what they're going to do. And then Gen 11, hey, it is what it is. Am I still going to be playing Pokemon then? I don't know. I miss the creativity and originality in Pokemon. Yeah, sometimes me too. That's why I liked Sword and Shield, though. It was just fun to explore. That's what I miss about Pokemon games. Galar gets another chance. They don't have to wait over 10 years like Kalos. Right. I'm really hoping. But yes, I do miss the creativity in Pokemon. I feel the same way. Alright, let's go on. Okay, kind of to put a button on it, right? Let's be done talking about leaks. The Pokemon Company COO calls for all recent Pokemon leaks and pictures to be removed. That's not how that works. If you had any doubts over the legitimacy of the recent wave of gargantuan Pokemon leaks, the Pokemon Company COO, Sakato Utsunomiya, sorry if I ruined that game, messed up that name there, calling for them all to be removed is probably the most telling piece of evidence you can ask for. October 13 saw a seismic influx of Pokemon leaks hit the internet. We learned about Generation 10's Wind and Wave, a bunch of new Pokemon games, and the DLC roadmap, not to mention potential Pokemon MMO details. It's been a rip-roaring few days, and we don't think the Pokemon Company has taken too kindly to it all. Centro Leaks has become one of the go-to accounts in all social media where Pokemon leaks are concerned. Some would argue it's the account everyone refreshes. It posted a bunch of leaks ahead of Pokemon Legends ZA, and it's a regular source of Pokemon leaks for Pokemon Pocket, I guess TCG Pocket, and other associated media. Page reported on October 16th that it had been contacted directly by the Pokemon Company. The chief operating officer of the Pokemon Company has personally sent an email to Centro Leaks to take down the Pokemon leak images. It is reiterated it will not be removing any such leaks or images. In fact, the page has doubled down on its findings and revealed that among the images they want removed are the alleged Pokemon Wind and Wave logos. Oh no, my thumbnail. My thumbnail might be in trouble, guys. Because I totally put the Wind and Wave logos on there. Oops. Hey, they didn't take this down. So, social media page has now pinned a message from October 17, 24, saying if only he knew that laws don't exist in Peru. The message was presumably another instance of copyright issues between the page and the Pokemon Company, and it's clear that the Centro Leaks stance won't change in 25. So unless the Pokemon Company has something stronger in mind, Centro Leaks will have all the original leaks on its page for the foreseeable future. Some of the images are unavailable, I saw some of them over the weekend, but some of them are unavailable as of this morning, so I'm not worried about it. It's just funny that they would have sent an email of all things, to, hey, take all that down, please. You already finished ZA. The ending felt perfect, book closed, nothing needing to be added, so I guess why the DLC is called Mega Dimension. We're going to go to an alternate Lumia City. I hope so. That's cool. Oh my gosh. Alright, excuse me. Yes, very funny. Okay, GameRant had everything in the Pokemon Gen 10 Terra leak explained, so I was wondering if they had any images regarding it. I don't think they do. So that's fine. We're not going to go too deep into it. We already covered a lot of it, and I'm not that interested in covering like detailed leak stuff. Just the leak itself I find interesting. The Wind and Waves plot sounds cool. You know, just the titles are interesting enough as it is, and then the setting, I don't know. If it's a bunch of swimming, now that we've got Pokemon, I'm sorry, let me take a step back. Now that we don't have random battles anymore, swimming and surfing in Pokemon isn't a big deal. But back then, like, if this was like a GBA game, I would have been disappointed. I don't want to get hit up on the waves constantly by random battles. Still here was typing. Can I ask a few things? I mean, maybe. We're getting ready to wrap up. So, I mean, if you want to, I may or may not respond. But you're welcome to, Supersonic. Alright, let's move on. Alright, the last topic I want to talk about might get a little sensitive. It's not necessarily game news related, but as a Twitch streamer and a streamer in general, I wanted to talk about this. I guess let's hold up. Let's look at Supersonic's question real quick. A lot of stuff here. Wrong button. Okay. Not into play Pokemon games. It's fun and cool, but not my forte. However, really enjoyed and beat Arceus. Now trending though. I like the unique fighting mode, even bosses, agile, strong style. Legends EA, I want to get the same feel. Is EA similar in most regards? Arceus lacked a bit in PvP battles. Is it still turn-based? As I've heard, it might be spammed through menus to attack faster. For decades, Pokemon games with 8 out of 10 ratings, only 200 Pokemon. Planning to have me get the DLC. Is a DLC purchasable on Switch 1? Okay, let's see. Why not put more DLC in Pokemon? Okay, the second part, I don't know what the deal is with Pokemon games not having like the spit and polish that they should, for being the #1 entertainment franchise in the world. And I've been very critical of the series. TLDR, is it worth getting liking how Arceus played, pros and cons? I don't know if we get Dex shiny side quests unless I come across them. Okay, so I loved Arceus for some of the same reasons. I thought the battling was way more fun. I liked being able to just catch Pokemon without battling. That was really fun. ZA keeps some of that, but the battle system is more real time with like cooldowns instead of strictly turn-based. You can still catch Pokemon in the wild areas just by throwing Pokeballs, so you don't have to engage in a battle. So some of that's cool, you know, not all of it though. I haven't played enough to have a recommendation yet, but I'm liking it so far, if that makes any sense. I do wish the Pokemon Company put more effort into making their games more polished than they have been in the past. This one does feel pretty good though. You can get it on Switch 1, and then if you get a Switch 2, you can upgrade it and get like a better frame rate and like better resolution and stuff. Pokemon Red and Arceus are the only two you played. Well, I mean, there you go. All right, let's get this last topic in, and then I've got to wrap up because I got to get to work. All right, streamer assaulted at TwitchCon, slams event security. I think other creators should seriously consider not attending in the future. Twitch says the safety and security of all those attending TwitchCon is our highest priority. So this is from Eurogamer. We'll read the article and talk about it a little bit. Streamer Imiru, I don't know if I'm saying that right. I don't know who you are, has disputed Twitch's claim that it responded to the incident when she was assaulted during her TwitchCon meet and greet, calling the claim a blatant lie. In a swift media statement, Twitch said the safety and security of all those attending TwitchCon is our highest priority and called the behavior of the man who pushed past the queue to grab Imiru and kiss her, completely unacceptable and deeply upsetting, which is completely unacceptable and deeply upsetting that it happened at all. It then revealed that it had blocked this individual from returning to the TwitchCon premises, and they are banned indefinitely from Twitch, both online and in-person events. Which is interesting, because I had heard they got like a 3-day ban. Anyway, so this is a clip of the thing happening. I don't know. Does anybody care about this but me? It's probably just me. I don't want to go to Blue Sky. So I'm not gonna play it. It's not a big deal. A video shows the moment. Man strides over to Imiru, assaults her before another man, presumably working in security, shoves him forcefully away. Whilst it appears that Imiru was protected by TwitchCon staff, it's since become apparent the security guard was part of Imiru's own team, and TwitchCon staff did not prevent the incident from occurring. Imiru, who has almost 2 million followers on Twitch and almost 1 million on Twitter X, explained what happened on social media, thanking people for their kind message, writing, "I don't understand how he was allowed to make it to me in the first place." So basically, in this picture, we can see, there's like a meet and greet going on. Get to meet a streamer. That's cool. But Twitch staff did nothing to prevent a dude from walking up and getting way too close to the streamer. And I think it's ridiculous. Having been around like ministry work and ushers and that kind of stuff, security teams, and knowing kind of the planning that goes into that, event security should be not really any different. And it's just kind of weird to me that someone was just able to walk out of line, go up to the meet and greet area when it wasn't their turn, and not get stopped by a single person until almost after something tragic had happened or something very awful had happened to the streamer there. And it's just wild to me. She said yesterday the man who assaulted me was allowed to cross multiple barriers at TwitchCon and even in front of another creator's meet and greet. Grabbed me in my face and tried to kiss me. Fortunately, he wasn't able to, but a lot of people pointed out it could have been a lot worse. It's still unacceptable that security wasn't like present. Like they didn't stop the dude from doing what he was doing. All that to kind of boil down to, this response is ridiculous. The safety and security of all those attending is our highest priority. Behavior displayed by the individual involved in the incident yesterday involving a high-profile streamer is completely unacceptable and deeply upsetting. So this is kind of like a cover your behind kind of thing. They have to say this, but in reality, you should have people managing lines and like this. I don't know. This should have never happened. And all that to come down to, I don't know what's going on with Twitch as a platform lately. I'm thankful that I can stream here and make content for you guys on here. But it seems like every week I find something to not like about Twitch. And this is one of those things where it's like, TwitchCon sounds like an awful event, and I don't know how anyone would ever go to it and enjoy themselves. And that may not be everyone's experience, but everything I've seen over this last week says that this one was one of the worst. There were fights breaking out. There was weird stuff going on. I am not a fan of whatever Twitch is doing. Like, this only happened once? It did happen once. Hey, what's up, Colton? Beard looks clean. Thanks, dude. I've been taking care of it. It was good to see you, though. Let's see. Nero, you just bought the game. Legends meant a slam dunk game guarantee. Like COD, Black Ops, nice. This becomes sale day-night cycle, same city, other things. It still have agile, strong style mechanic. No, it doesn't have the agile or strong style mechanic anymore. And the day-night cycle, I haven't really got to. The tutorial is very long, and so I haven't even got to that point of the game. But no, this is like this thing happened once, but the fact that it happened once is unacceptable. Like, dude should not have been able to cross multiple barriers without any kind of resistance or pushback at all. So we've increased security at the meet and greet attendance check-in point, and we'll have additional security personnel surrounding participating streamers. If you've RSVP'd for a meet and greet, please note we are unable to accommodate +1s for the remainder of the event. Twitch has zero tolerance for harassment or acts that inhibit the safety and security of our community. And that, I guess, is the appropriate response. Up security at the event. I just hate that this even happened to a single person, like at all. Like just an individual having to deal with that is unacceptable at any kind of event. And I don't know what to make of that, other than the more I find out about what Twitch is doing behind the scenes, or that lack of planning or preparation, and then stuff the Twitch CEO keeps getting quoted doing or saying. It's just kind of a weird time to be a creator on the platform. And so I'm not going anywhere. I'm just increasingly disappointed with Twitch, if that makes any sense. But anyway, that's where we're going to leave it. I hate to leave it on such a bad note, but I did want to kind of throw my 2 cents out there. If you guys are watching on any other platform besides Twitch, thanks for being here. Thanks for hitting the follow button. If you can, if the platform supports it, leave a like, a comment, follow, do the things. If you're watching on Twitch and you hadn't already hit the follow button, please make sure you do. And we'll find somebody to raid and call it a day. And I love you guys. And I'm very thankful that we got to do game news, because it's been far too long since I got to put together a game news show for you guys. And it was a good one. A lot of Pokemon stuff. Looking forward to Pokemon Day in February to get new information. But I am also currently enjoying Legends ZA, which we will pick up streaming on Thursday evening. That's the plan right now. So that's what we got. All right, let's raid out to... I don't even know. Who are we going to? Let's send it over to Dvoraya. Whoops. I hope I'm saying it correctly. Fellow Christian streamer Will, thanks for being here, man. Appreciate seeing you in chat. You guys have a great day, and go show Dvoraya some love and appreciation, and tell her you like cheese, even if you don't. I don't know, man. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm out of here. Love you guys. Have a great day. See ya.
Jake,